I will start with the stock of the day, though. It is Nickel Mines. Its ticker code is NIC, and at this stage of this Monday session, it is the best performer on the 200. It's up by 6.3% after extending an MOU arrangement with Shanghai Deceit. It is agreeing to purchase a 70% stake in the Oracle nickel project as well. So NIC will pay $370 million for the stake, as well as provide another $150 million in construction funding. So again, it is the expansion of the strategic partnership with this MOU that's happening with Shanghai Deceit. Now, gentlemen, look at that chart for Nickel Mines there. I'll start with you, Gaurav. What do you think about Nickel Mines being the stock of the day and whether or not you buy it today?
It has come across my radar a few times, mostly from enthusiastic fanboys kind of mentioning it to me, and me, I think, quite naively dismissing it. And I think that kind of reaction tells you a lot about the stock. The actual assets themselves are large, complicated laterite operations. And in nickel, you really want to be careful with the big laterite ore body because it's very specific processing that is difficult and risky. And that's what these guys have kind of maneuvered themselves into. I much prefer a nice, simple sulfide nickel body, which you can get from Western areas. So I've never really paid too much attention to this, but look, hats off to the management here. This has been an extraordinary display of entrepreneurialism and hustle from the management. It's a newish business, and they've just done a fantastic job parlaying from one asset to another and doing it smartly with good deals. I've been really impressed with the management. Not so much impressed with the nickel ore bodies, but I think that's a lot of my hang-ups from old mistakes investing in laterite ore bodies in the past. So I'm going to give it a miss, but very impressed with management. I can understand why you're in there, and it is worthwhile watching closely what they do from here because they've come from nowhere and ended up actually producing more nickel than BHP, which is an impressive scorecard.
Yes. Now it's nickel pig iron, from what I understand. So are you of the same thinking, Henry, that it comes down to the ore body, despite how well the company is executing strategically?
Yeah, Nadine, I think it is about the ore body. It's also about the sovereign risk. Indonesia is somewhat mercurial to do business in at times. As Gaurav says, they've done a pretty good job so far in parlaying it, and you know that this deal does look good. The market clearly likes it, but at the end of the day, the stock code and the name of the company is crucial. Nickel Mines, when people are looking at their nickel exposure, there's very few pure plays, and Nickel Mines always pops up. Great code, and people, it's kind of the go-to one at times when you see a spike in the nickel price. And we did see a little bit of bullishness emerging in nickel over the weekend. So that is good for these guys. The deal looks good. And although they're not raising money at the moment, when you look at the timetable, which goes into next year, you know, by December the 31st, 2022, they're going to have invested $463 million in this. And by March 2023, it's going to be $525 million. So that money's got to be coming from somewhere. It does look a good deal, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them tap shareholders along the way for this deal. But no, I prefer, and we prefer, Poseidon Nickel, and also Panoramic as well, which is just getting their Savannah project back online. But Poseidon Nickel also having a good run today on a positive announcement. So those are two others to consider. Western Areas has always been the go-to one, but it has got a big short position in it. And it also has this on again, off again. I don't know what the status is at the moment of the IGO takeover play. So that sort of muscled up and then went very quiet. So there's I guess three others that you could play in the sector. I'm always a bit wary of Indonesia. That's you know, they can change the rules sometimes, and that can have a somewhat detrimental effect. We saw that last year, I guess, or earlier this year when the rules did change and exports of nickel, it was considered strategic and they weren't going to let it be exported, and that saw the share price fall from around $1.50 to $1. So there are those concerns, I think. So I'd probably rather go with Poseidon, Panoramic, or even Western Areas for that takeover appeal as well.
Yep, Gaurav, to clarify, you'd prefer Western Areas in that space?
Indeed, and it's a good point that Henry raises there about Indonesia. I once owned a gold miner in Indonesia and woke up one morning to find that the government had forced them to sell the asset back to the government at a predetermined price, and that is not at all unusual. So yeah, it's an important point to remember that you're taking on a lot of sovereign risk as well.
Got it. Thank you.